ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुर्नितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विशुभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते तमल कृष्ण गोस्वामी नाम। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नाम। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चर्दयस्तारिणी। Welcome everyone to this Sunday morning class, viewers from online and people who are present. Thank you very much for coming. This morning we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, text number 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vaya Yalaya Druma Vai Teshvi. Vaya Yala Druma Vai Teshvi. Akriti Khila Sampadha Yadhas Gunastriti Tatapati Yad Grihastritha Padiya Padatrita Virajita Vayalaya Druma Vaiteshvi. Arkita Khila Sampata Yad Grihastita Padiya Padatita Virajita. Please repeat. Word to word translation. Yayala. Venomous serpents. Aklya. Home. Druma. Tree. Vai. Certainly. Teshu. In those houses. Arkita. Abundantly. Akhila. All. Sampata. Opulences. Yad. That. Griha. Houses. Tirthapadiya. In relation with the feet of great saintly persons. Padatirtha. The water which washed their feet. Virajita. Without. Translation and prepared by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. On the contrary, even though full of all opulences and material prosperity, any householder's house where the devotees of the Lord are never allowed to come in, and where there is no water for washing their feet, is to be considered a tree in which all venomous serpents live. Pretty strong. I read the paper. In this verse, the word Tirtha Padiya indicates the devotees of the Lord Vishnu or Vaishnavas. As far as Brahmanas are concerned, in the previous verse, the mode of reception has already been described. Now in this verse, special stress is given to the Vaishnavas. Generally, the sannyasis or those in the renounced order of life take trouble to enlighten the householders. They are Ekadanda sannyasi and three Dandi sannyasi. The Ekadandi sannyasi are generally followers of Sankaracharya and are known as Mayavadi sannyasi. Whereas the three Dandi sannyasi are the followers of Vaishnavacharyas, such as like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and so on. And they take trouble to enlighten the householders. Ekadandi sannyasi can be situated on the platform of Piva Brahman because they are aware that the spirit soul is different from the body, but they are mainly impersonalists. The Vaishnavas know that the absolute truth is the supreme person and that the Brahman effulgence is based on the supreme personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:27. Brahmano hi parikstaham. The conclusion is that Tirtha Padiya refers to Vaishnavas. In Bhagavatam 1:13-10, there is another references. Tirthi kurvanti tirhati. Wherever he goes, a Vaishnava immediately makes that place a tirtha, a place of pilgrimage. The Vaishnava sannyasis travel all over the world to make every place a place of pilgrimage by touch of their lotus feet. It is mentioned here that any house which does not receive a Vaishnava in the manner already explained in the previous verses is to be considered the residential quarters of venomous serpents. It is said that around the sandalwood tree, which is a very valuable tree, there is venomous serpent. Sandalwood is very cold, and venomous serpent, because of their poisonous teeth, are always very warm. And they take shelter of sandalwood tree to become cooler. Similarly, there are many rich men who keep watchdogs or doormen and put signs that say, "Do not enter, trespassers not allowed, be aware of dog," etc. Sometimes in Western countries, a trespasser is shot, and there is no crime in such shooting. This is the position of demonic householders, and such houses are considered to be residential quarters of venomous snakes. The members of such families are no better than snakes, because snakes are very much envious. And when that envy is directed to the saintly person, their positions become more dangerous. It is said by Chanakya Pandit that there are two envious living entities, the snake and the envious man. The envious man is more dangerous than a snake, because a snake can be subdued by charming mantras or by some herbs, but an envious person cannot be pacified by any means. Jai. So, today's slok is text number 11. So this chapter is actually Prithu Maharaj meeting with the four Kumaras. So last 10 verses we've been hearing that Prithu Maharaj welcomes the four Kumaras. I'll just say the not summary, so those who didn't attend the previous class knows what's happening. The four Kumaras comes in the house and Prithu Maharaj welcomes them. Basically, how he'd welcome? By welcoming through nice reception, he welcomes them, honors them a chair or a seat or an asan to sit on, then washes their feet and offers some arti, some paraphernalia, some service, and then after that obviously puts on the garland in that arti process and also offers some foodstuffs. And with the washed water from his lotus feet of the four Kumaras, it's been sprinkled around to the devotees who have assembled. So literally that's a custom which has been done in the first 10 verses. Now this verse, which is a very different angle of the story now, it comes to a point which we have already heard in the translation, that devotees and many people who are, especially it's mentioned here like a householders, when they are not welcome in the house, when they don't offer the guests to come inside the house, and they don't offer some water and doesn't offer some service in that submissive mood, Prabhupada says and also washing the feet, Prabhupada says those kind of house is equal to snakes living in that house. Snakes is equal to envy. So I'm just trying to explain what Srila Prabhupada has said, and then I'll speak more further as we go. So, as Prithu Maharaj has set a very auspicious example. He's one of the leading exemplary leader, and he has set an example. And like four Kumaras, we know that they are the first son of Lord Brahma. Then Narad came, then Iswaku and others came. Then the four sons were the primary kids of Lord Brahma. When Brahmaji wanted them, the four Kumaras, to grow and start the population, start the praja, the four Kumaras denied. They wanted to be Navyovan, means small, young kids. The reasoning given in Srimad Bhagavatam is because when they are kid, obviously their brains have their Mahajans. They have already grown up. This spiritual knowledge is pretty matured. But the material desires, which is family progeny, means sex life, means creating few things here and there, holding things. Those things doesn't happen when they are kid. Like we have one kid here, I've got few kids at home. And I can see they're very simple. They're very innocent and they're very playful and very forgetful. They don't carry things in their heart. Like I as a parent, I can see whenever I get angry on my kid, a few seconds later you just smile at them, they forget. They just forget. Whereas adults like us, if we have differences, we don't forget. We carry on and we carry on, sometimes years and years. We don't really know. I'll just give you one example. One time back when I was in early days of my Krishna consciousness, there was one brahmachari, he went to meet someone and he came back to the car. I was in the car. I didn't go with him. And I was in the car. But when he came back, and I have a jovial nature, I always make fun, especially with my friends. Whoever is there, then we laugh. And we laughed. We made a big laugh out of it. So the person he went to see saw us laughing in the car. But it was nothing related to their talk. It was our talk. And then the story finished. And then I moved on. 24 years later, that person who was with that, during that conversation, contacted me and said, Prabhu, 24 years earlier, you laughed at us. I said, what was it? He said, because there was a confront between those two parties, and when they came back in the car, you were laughing. So I thought you were laughing on us. I said, no, we were laughing about the joke we were watching, and we were laughing on it. Oh, sorry, Prabhu. 24 years it took me to come out and say sorry to you. So that's the nature of us. But the four Kumaras, because they are young, they have forgetful nature. And of course, innocent. So, coming back to the story, here actually it explains, there is a two difference in this sloka, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. While I was reading it last night, the Prabhupada has explained two different parts. There's Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Brahmanas, okay, they can be like considered as like very authentic, with mantras, with a lot of rituals. They come with a lot of background of family and name and all those things. So Brahmanas has to be respected, but above Brahmanas are Vaishnavas. Brahmanas are up to certain level, but above Brahmanas, Srila Prabhupada explained, I'll explain to you later a little bit deeper on that. But Vaishnavas are considered to be more higher. So Srila Prabhupada explains here like Ekadandi Sannyasi. Ekadandi Sannyasi, he believes in Brahman and Jyoti. He just accepts meditation of the Lord, and they are like similar to Mayavadis. And three Dandi sannyasis are similar to Srila Prabhupada and our Sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We have three Dandi sannyasis. Our gurus, whoever is called sannyasis are, they are all three Dandi sannyasis. They have three danda. In their sannyas danda, they have three pieces in there. And ek dandi sannyasi means one bamboo in it. So ek dandi sannyasis are similar to Sankaracharya, and they follow, let's explain the Brahma Jyoti. And the three dandi sannyasis are like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and so on. And I had a very interesting experience in my life. Back in 2001, I was in the pilgrimage. I went to India for the first time, and then I was in South India. And then next morning I was supposed to meet a sadhu, but I didn't know. I was just relaxing with my families, chanting and just reading and everything. That night I had an interesting dream. My Gurudev, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, came in my dream. And he said that no matter what happens, you stick to this principle that we walk in such a way that Krishna comes looking for us. We don't look for Krishna. And then he disappeared from the dream. And next morning when I woke up, we had few devotees with us. My mother was with me that time. So I got up and I was just so excited that my Gurudev came in my dream and he gave me some instructions. So I wasn't sure why, but I was excited. But that morning, like after a few hours, I was going to meet a Mayavadi sannyasi. And I didn't know that. So when we went for the gathering and this sannyasi was sitting and then he saw me because I was in the Vaishnava dress and my tilak was there. Then he started to look at me and then he said, Brahman is the supreme and that's it. The supreme Lord needs to be Brahman. So he was going a little bit into that direction of Ekadandi sannyasi. So he asked me, what is your belief? What do you want to say about your belief? And I just repeated what my spiritual master said in my dream. That we don't look for Krishna. We walk in such a way that Krishna comes looking for you. We don't look for Brahma Jyoti, we don't look for this, we don't look for that. We just walk in such a way that we work hard and Krishna comes looking for you. And he was smashed with that statement. He was smashed. He couldn't had any answer and then he said, Jai, look at this. A foreigner in India, he's telling and he's got such a deep faith. He was very appreciative and he was very positive. So first time I met a Ekadandi sannyasi, a Mayavadi. They're pretty strong. But that's my experience, they're pretty strong in those things. So the Vaishnava's place of, now let's go to the Brahma and Vaishnava. When a Vaishnava comes to your house, Vaishnava is equal to like a Tirtha Sthan, Tirtha. So when Vaishnavas come, they're given in the same concept of when Ganga came in this material world, her request was that sadhus will come and bathe in my water, and that's when it will be purified, otherwise it will be always sinful. So Vaishnavas are like that. Because they chant the holy name, and because they follow the path of Gaudiya Vaishnava, either they're initiated or not, but as long as they're chanting the holy name, they're in the path. And those who are already initiated and those who are already seriously following it, you should be considering them more respectfully. We have started to see that this culture has slowly started to diminish everywhere in the world. In India and in the West, within the family, this culture is diminishing. It's there, still there, but it's not as good as before. When a sadhu comes to your house, it's very important that when a sadhu comes, you should welcome them, honor them like what Prithu Maharaj has done. We have also seen the example of Lord Krishna when Sudama, when he went to his doorstep, and as soon as the message was passed to Lord Krishna that Sudama is there, Lord Krishna just left everything. He just ran. He just ran to the gate. He didn't consider that I'm the king, I got the queens here, I got the palace, I got all the kingdom, I got all the opulences. I'm the king of this universe, king of Dwarka. He didn't. He just left everything. He just went to see Sudama. And Sudama being like a Fata Brahman, wearing all the clothes which is all torn, dirty, because he walked down to Krishna with so much of hardship. The clothes were dirty. But Krishna didn't see that as a defect. He welcomed Sudama inside, brought him into the palace, put him into the throne, washed his feet. There's a painting in ISKCON. I really love that painting. We don't have it here, but some temples have it. And Rukmini is fanning Sudama. And Krishna was crying while doing that my devotee has come. So that is actually a very great example which every one of us have to learn. Similar example is given as Maharaj Ambrish, when Durvasa Muni came, and Maharaj Ambrish offered the prasad and honored him with all those things, but Durvasa Muni turned out to be trying to play some trick with Ambrish Maharaj, but of course his trick didn't work well. It didn't work well, it counteracted his plans. So here Srila Prabhupada explains that the bad sign which we have is when devotees first of all don't welcome anyone into their house. On top of that, they put like a strong sign in front of their house. Be aware of dogs. Please do not come in. Not welcome. In Pras, during British days, when they were like British Raj, they used to put Indians and dogs not allowed. So quite a lot of nasty things used to happen. So back in those traditions, which has now been followed by many houses, that please do not come in. So an example is given. We used to go out on Sankirtans back in Fiji when I used to do Harinam Sankirtans, and we used to go out and do book distributions. We used to sometimes go into people's houses, and there used to be like big dogs. And sometimes we used to go and pluck flowers for garlands for the deities. There used to be a lot of dogs. So what we used to do, we used to play tricks. We knew that there will be dogs, so we used to carry some sweets with us or some food with us, so that when we go to their house, we'll just give the dogs some so that we can pluck some flowers, And sometimes you have to be careful. But it's not a nice welcome. Of course, in a positive way, they give a warning that please do not enter, or if you do enter, you can be bitten. But in general terms, like my Gurudev, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was saying, when he used to go to collect for life membership, he used to go and knock doors for all the rich people. The ladies in the house will come out and say, "My Prabhu is not home." And my Gurudev used to say that we could see them from the windows that they were in the house. But they used to just say, "My husband is not here, he's gone, he's not here." Because they didn't want to welcome a sadhu, and they used to go like in a sannyasi. And one time my Gurudev's pastime is, he went to make a life member, and he was owner he was a big rich man, and he's the owner for a theater or something. And then he said that it's very hot, I'm not going to become a life member. So my Gurudev said that please sign the check. He said, "No, you sit down and watch this movie." So being a sannyasi, he had to sit down and watch that movie, some normal mundane movie. And then after the movie, he went back to that life member and he said, "Now sign the check." "Oh, it's still too hot." So my Gurudev said, "What that hot has to do with the sign check?" "No, I want to be cooled down. I want to see you cool down because you are hot too." So he said, "Take this Limca juice, that soft drink, which is a Limca." And he said, "Put it on your head. Pour it on your head and cool down yourself." And my Gurudev did that. He took a Limca and then put it on his head, full sannyasi, sticky stuff. He said, "Now, you happy?" He said, "Yeah." Now he signed. At that time, it used to be a big amount when they used to sign 1,008 rupees. They used to become life members from that. So this is the way sometimes people treat others. So we shouldn't be like that. It says here, Prabhupada, coming back to the context, that the sandalwood tree, a sandalwood tree is very cool. Like we apply to the deities in their feet, lotus feet, we always apply chandan, and in Radharani's hand we apply. And in Srila Prabhupada's forehead we apply. You must have seen chandan, we paste it. We don't do it here because in hot countries we do, like India and other tropical countries. They put chandan in Prabhupada's forehead. And you must have seen some sadhus with chandan. So sandalwood is a cool tree. And the snake takes, because of snake's nature, it's very hot because of the venomous, poisonous effect. So what snake does is, it goes takes shelter of the sandalwood tree to keep cool. So Prabhupada then brings that concept to a householder is sandalwood. A householder has got opulence like a sandalwood, very cool opulence. But inside that sandalwood, they're keeping envious nature, which is like snakes. Like they're so envious that they can't see anyone progressing. You must have all experienced it. Even within your family, if you do something good, you may have worked so hard day and night, but if you do a little bit better than previously, they become envious of you. But if their neighbors or some other people or unknown people in the world are doing so many things, they're progressing, they don't care. Elon Musk is progressing, Jeff is progressing, this or that, they don't worry. But if you or this particular person, because they're brought up with that and they can't tolerate, if they're progressing in Krishna consciousness very well, or becoming successful in life, they can't. So that envious nature doesn't go. I was giving a class in Melbourne one time, long time back, and I was talking about this point, envious and ego. They're the last two things before entering the Vaikuntha Lok, to Golok Dham. E squared, envy and ego. That doesn't easily go away. It stays in our heart for long, long time. It depends on the nature of your character. It's sometimes in minute 1%, or it can be 98% or 99%. So, envious is so dangerous. Like, I'll give you one more example. One time my spiritual master, he went to Fiji. After 1 year he arrived in Fiji. And the devotees welcomed Gurudev and then they were having a talk. And then they were giving a complaint about X devotee, Y devotee, this devotee is doing this devotee is doing that, Gurudev, this has happened, this problem has happened, this. Half an hour or 1 hour, the authorities were just speaking about either negative. Then my Gurudev just kept on listening, and finally he always had this posture. He keeps his face like this and listens. So finally he said a very interesting word. He said, "This is how you welcome your spiritual master when he comes to your country. With all these problems and negative and everything." So, coming back to the point, whenever someone comes to your place, give them positive vibe, welcome them, feel them home, let them feel like home. It applies to everyone. If you are staying in the temple, nowadays it's a very big thing that people really don't care who comes and who doesn't come. Back in Early days of Krishna consciousness, as soon as a new person walks in, there will be people who will be just protecting them. Just go and say, Hare Krishna, where are you? Where did you come from? This is your first time to the temple. What are you? I mean, we should have this habit that we should keep a radar and watching. Okay, I know him, I know him, I know him. Oh, this person, I don't know him. Go and talk to them. I remember back in 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I went and met a devotee. It was she came first time to the temple. And I went and I said, Hare Krishna, and then please come in. I think it was 30 years ago, something. Yeah, I was in Fiji that time. And then I invited her to the temple, took her for the darshan. After the darshan, she went. 20 years later, she still remembers, you were the first one to welcome me to the temple. She's a devotee now. She still remembers it. So that habit we should form in. We have this habit of similar like what is today's class about. We don't welcome people. So at home, anyone comes and knocks the door, Atiti Seva, it's called. As soon as Atiti means anyone out of blue comes in, welcome them. I had a very old goat sister of mine. Her name was Gauri Mata. Very old. She was in 80s and 90s. She struggles to walk. But whenever I used to go to her house, she will always invite me, let me sit inside her house, and she will quickly run, struggling. She will run and get some water and some, misri, like sweet candies, and badam, almonds. She'll offer me dry fruits. Every time I always remember her, the way she was behaving. She was 3 times more senior in age. She was unlimited senior to me spiritually. I was so young devotee, but she respected me. So, if you show the respect, then this kind of behavior doesn't come. Envy is something which is always in our heart, but how can we take out the envy? Now that's the next point. How can we get this envy out of us? One is the people whom you associate with. If you associate with the envious people, you'll always get enviousness in you. If you associate with the positive-minded people, you'll get positive. My Gurudev used to always say, if you don't find anyone positive around you, if you don't see anyone, you are alone, you are struggling, what to do, and whomever I call, they just make me more. This is the most pure devotee, Srimad Bhagavatam. There is nothing wrong in this book. Everything in this book is pure. Every word, every page is pure. Okay, now we'll need a person to be, but you have to be smart. How to disengage in enviousness. It's very common. It happens in spiritual world also. Enviousness also there. We think why? But their bhav is different. They always competing to save Krishna in the most, like when Srila Prabhupada was physically present, there used to be a lot of competition between book distributors, and they used to always try and strive to save Srila Prabhupada to the best of the ability. So the positive way is also good. Another way to do is, all depends is how you chant. Our Krishna, it's like we always hear, you are what you eat, isn't it? It's a saying in English, you are what you eat. You eat wrong thing, you will become wrong. So in Krishna consciousness, your devotional life is how you chant. Your chanting is dependent on your devotional service. If your chanting is pakka, every word, every beat you chant is perfect, you will have a straightforward consciousness. Then enviousness won't touch you. 90% of our devotees are struggling with that proper chanting. Temple residential devotees is okay because they live here, that's fine. But if you live outside the temple, it's quite challenging. Get up in the morning and then chant and go to work. So start from small quantity, like start from one round proper, then the whole day if you want to chant, do it. Then 1 to 2 rounds. Sit down and focus on the each and every mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I have seen that when I was back in, like single, and I used to sit down and do chanting. I used to do like in the temple room, I used to sit down and chant up to 6 o'clock or 6:30, then 6:30 till, if my leg starts paining, then I'll do parikrama to Tulsi and chant. But the best chanting is when you sit down at one place, focus and chant. When you sit down and chant, especially an environment like this, close, no noise from the traffic, no nothing. As soon as you move out and chant, you'll see the difference. As soon as you move out of the temple premises, go to the park and chant, you'll see the difference. As soon as you go to the city and chant, you'll find the big difference. So the most purest way of chanting is sitting on the temple room with the devotees and just concentrate on the mantra. A lot of good qualities will start coming in you. Humbleness will come, enviousness will go away, ego will go away, everything. So there's an interesting pastime which happened. Devakinandan Prabhu spoke about 2 weeks ago in Vaman Kshetra. He said about this, Lord Jagannath's pastime, where he was saying that there was a devotee called Rahuganana in Puri. He's not a pujari, he's not a panda, but he made a nice garland for Lord Jagannath from bamboo, and he wanted to get this offered to Lord Jagannath. Unfortunately, the pandas didn't accept that. They rejected it. The pujaris, they said, no, we're not going to offer this garland because it's not made according to what should be the system. So poor devotee, he just went back with the garland. So that night the pujaris, they were worshipping and changing the clothes of the Lord, and Lord was very upset. Things were getting rejected. Next morning they were offering a garland. Every garland was getting off the Lord. Every garland they were offering was been rejected. Then the pujaris, they thought, what has happened? There must be some aparadh has happened. Some offense has happened. So then they decided, all the priests, they decided that we'll fast. We'll fast and we'll pray to the Lord. And in Jagannath Puri, the system is the Lord comes in a dream and tells you what is to be done. So it came in the night time when the pujaris had the dream that this Raghugana Prabhu was been rejected in his garland, and then Lord said, I'm not going to accept any more garlands till his garland comes on my body. So the next morning, this pujaris, they ran and asked for that garland, and they offered to Lord Jagannath, and then Lord Jagannath started accepting the garland. So the moral of this story is, offending a devotee is a biggest offense. Bhakti Dhira Damodar Swami Maharaj was saying, if you do sin, like pap, sin, S-I-N, sin, if you do sin, you get the reaction for it. It just clears up. Maybe as soon as you start purifying, you stop the sin, it purifies you. But if you do Vaishnava Prad, the Vaishnava Prad will destroy you and your whole life of your devotional service. I'll give one last interesting example in this context. There was, during Mahaprabhu's pastime, Lord Nityananda was chanting and going out into every town and village, and then he ended up in the house of Ramachandra Khan. You probably must be aware of this. So when they went to Ramchandra's house, Nityanand Thakur was sitting down and doing some bhajan. He was chanting. Well, Ramachandra Khan was waiting when Lord Nityananda will get out of this place. He was so envy of Lord Nityananda. And as soon as he saw Lord Nityananda in his house, he said, "Leave, get out, leave." So Lord Nityananda smiled and left. He didn't do anything, he didn't say anything, nothing, he just left. And Ramchandra Khan's envy was so strong. As soon as Lord Nityananda went, he said, "This place has become impure." So he told his servants to go and get cow dung and urine to clean that area, to purify that area. He thinks Lord Nityananda's touching that place was impure and the cow dung was more pure than that. And then he did that, and then it's a long story, I'm just telling you in a summary way. And then he got the reaction, Ramchandra Khan. The whole village was suffering. The whole village got suffering because of that one single offense. So, the best way to always do is pray to the Lord that you don't get this nature of the enviousness and the separate nature in us. The only way it does reside in us, it's still in our heart. Only way we can do is pray to Srila Prabhupada and the deities. Please, every day in your prayers it should be that nature shouldn't come in you. That enviness and ego. I don't want that envy nature. So if you pray to the Lord will avoid you to get that. Because of our prayers, we don't pray, so the Lord, because from previous life we have this. So, coming to the final point, Prabhupada says, a snake with the mantras, if you chant the special mantras for the snake, it can be controlled and you can trap it and then keep it in the cage. But a man, there is no mantra for them. If he is envious, he'll make it more worse. He gets out, he's more envious of everyone. So that's what Srila Prabhupada has concluded here. So today's verse, which is text number 11, the important point to know is how to save Vaishnavas, which has already been said in the previous one. If you don't, because we are equal to a snake, serpent. A venomous serpent means with the poison. So every time you should welcome. It's a lot of devotees do come with a lot of good culture. They have a lot of good culture. You go and meet them. They always welcome you. But sometimes this is basically, as I mentioned, is general. It's not for some people who may not be like this. So, yes, so this brings to the end of Srimad Bhagavatam class. If there is anyone has any questions or any comments. Hare Krishna.
Thanks for the class, Prabhu. And also nicely singing Kirtan nearly for an hour this morning. And also regularly leading Nagar Sankirtana in the city every single week. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So just a couple of things. Please excuse my ignorance. If I may request for clarification, was Krishna referring to the job description of Vaishnavas in the 18th chapter of 42nd shloka, where he actually describes the qualities by which the Brahmanas work? Was he actually referring to the pure devotees, Vaishnavas, not just the mere Brahmanas who take birth in a Brahmin family? And also, all our acharyas in our parampara, they are the Tridandi sannyasis who carry Tridandi with them. Those are the two things if you can.
The Tridandi sannyasi, yes, in ISKCON, like if you see Prabhupada's letters and if you see previously all the letters of Srila Prabhupada, it always used to say Tridandi sannyasi. Our Gurudev also had that letterhead when they used to write letters. Now it's email, so you don't see. Back in those days when they had a letterhead, they used to always have Tridandi sannyasi. So in ISKCON, when we get sannyas, they're given there 3 dandi sannyasis. And there's a small like arch like on the top, which is like a Atma. So those 3 dandi, actually Bhakti Dhira Damodar Swami Maharaj once was in Vrindavan and he said this 3 dandi, you know what does this mean? It's body, mind and words, which is our BMW. Like the car which has got BMW or Toyota or whatever, so this is, he said, this is our BMW, body, mind and words. So that's what it is meant for, three words. So yeah, the first question which you asked was about Brahmana and Vaishnavas.
Bhagavad Gita 18.42, Krishna describes about the qualities by which the Brahmanas were. Was he actually referring more towards the pure devotees, more towards the Vaishnavas than the mere Brahmanas?
I probably have to read the paper of that, then Prabhupada must have. No paper?
And for the next 3 verses, there's no purpose. He lists actually
I mean,
Brahmanas, Kshatriyas,
Vaishnavas.
and Shudras.
Yeah. I mean, back in those days, all the Brahmanas were like Vaishnavas, But now the Brahman distinction, I don't want to say because Prabhupada hasn't said, so I'm not going to say anything. If he hasn't said anything on the paper, so it's basically, hard for me to say, because Srila Prabhupada hasn't said, I don't want to say anything. Any more questions? Any comments? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry it might sound a bit silly, but in this translation, in this verse, it's saying that you should always welcome anyone who
Anyone,
steps in,
yeah.
right? Not just Vaishnavas. So anyone can be the postie or the delivery guy.
Mataji's question is like Prabhupada says, welcome everyone. And anyone can be like a delivery guy or or Uber Eats or whatever, Well, of course, there is an etiquette. If they can't, like nowadays they don't knock the door and by the time you go, they're gone. They just knock, or they don't even knock. They sometimes drop and take a photo and leave, and you get a message that delivery done. So it's not your fault. But if you see someone face to face, it's hard to get any stranger in your house, but at least offer something on the doorstep. Can I get you some water? You must, I just give an example. I'm not saying that I'm very true Vaishnava, but there was people working in my house. They were like concreters. They were doing the cement and all those things, my driveway. And I'm also a tradie and I work hard. I work outside and it's very hard. You work hard, you know how hard it is. So I can see them, and I used to see them. Every half an hour I used to go, you need something, you need cold drink, you need hot water, you need something, to go washroom. At the end of the 3 days of work, they felt so welcome. They said they were Vietnamese. Of course they were smoking and doing other things. But overlook all those things and you do your culture. You make sure they feel welcome. So at the end, they were so happy, they did some extra work for me without charging. So in ISKCON, when I used to come to Krishna Kalya temple, I used to see devotees were so welcoming, and that made me feel this is where I belong to. This is where I belong to. Every time devotees were very welcoming. And so that's the point, you need to make sure that it is. Anyways, it's time. We need to get along with the next program. Yeah. Mataji is saying envy is opposite. For those who are online, they don't hear it, so I'm just repeating for them. So envy in the reflection is appreciation. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you. His Holiness Devamita Maharaj said that. So yeah, envy can be counteracted with appreciation. But appreciation has to be genuine. We sometimes feel like devotees are just doing it externally. oh Prabhu, so nice of seeing you. But as soon as you turn around, they just talk negative about it. Wow. I just said it just to make him get out of my way. So that has to come from your heart, not just to polish. How long you going to be keep polishing your life with? You've seen sometimes people are like that. They just want to just be external. And time will show. Krishna is watching you. You can't go to Krishna's kingdom with that external feeling. You have to be internally cleaned. The Cheto Darpanam, that heart has to be clean. That happens through good chanting. If you do good chanting, all the problem gets solved. Just sit down and do your 16 rounds perfectly. That's the biggest thing. Take your time out, just find a time and sit down and do it. Any time of the day. Okay, Brahma Muhurat, you've missed it, catch it up, do it during the day. That should be a goal of your life. My 16 rounds has to be done perfectly. Right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanandi.